Hey everyone, Pastor George here with today's Bible study recap. And today in Bible study, we did two chapters from the book of Job, chapters 32 and 33. And in these chapters, we looked at a new character who has shown up for this. And this is a guy named Elihu. Now, Elihu is a little bit different than all of the other people who are here already. For the first thing, he's a Hebrew. He has a Hebrew name, Elihu. You can probably see similarities to other famous Israelite names in the Old Testament, like Elijah or Elisha or stuff like that, right? They have that L beginning, which is the name, one of the names for God. So you can see it's Elihu. So he's a Hebrew, and that separates him from Job's three other friends. He's also considerably younger, and if you read his passage, you'll see that he makes mention of that. And that's also why he waits until last to talk, because traditionally the young guys would go last, right? The older guys would go first, and then the young guys would go last. And here you can see that he takes a very different approach than Job's three other friends. And because of this different approach, a lot of people have thought that maybe he was a later addition. And they think this for not unsound reasons, right? Like in the beginning, Elihu isn't mentioned along with Job's three other friends, and he's not mentioned by God later in the book of Job, but that could be for a few reasons. You have scholars across the board who are kind of divided on this. It could just be that it was because he was young that he wasn't mentioned. It could be because he's correct, quote unquote, in the eyes of the person who wrote the book of Job or recorded the book of Job, that he isn't listed among things and God doesn't call him out. That could be why. We're not really sure, but he is here and he gets a formal introduction, and it's not like the language changes drastically, so there's no great reason to think that this is a huge addition that was added like hundreds of years later. So anyway, this is all about Elihu, and Elihu is a young guy, and his tactic is a little bit different. He's also much nicer to Job. You'll see him over these few chapters use Job's personal name, which is you'll notice the other guys don't do that, right? So you see that he is a little bit warmer than the other ones, and he's much more open to hearing Job's side of the story where the other guys aren't. But Elihu is a little bit different. So chapter 32 basically is Elihu's statement as to why people should listen to him. He's listened to Job and his friends fight or argue with each other over the past 31 chapters, and now he's done with that, right? It's his time to speak, and he's going to talk, and he uses his youth as an advantage here. He also says that he's not partial, right? Like he's going to judge very fairly in these matters, and so that's why he sets himself up as this guy. And you guys might think that he's talking himself up, but this is kind of normal etiquette at the time, especially if you're a younger man trying to make sure that people listen to your voice, right? Because it was generally disregarded. So in chapter 33, this is when he starts his argument, and he starts by rebuking Job. So one of the things that he states here is that like his message that he's bringing Job is of divine origin, right? And it's not that he's become a mouthpiece for God. It's more that he has the Holy Spirit is like on him, and he's able to teach him the truth. And so the first thing he does is he rebukes Job, but he doesn't rebuke him in the way that his other friends do, right? He doesn't say, well, Job, you must have been a sinner. Actually, Elihu he never says that the way his other friends do, right? His other friends insist that Job must have just grievously sinned in order to earn whatever has come to him. But that's not what he is saying here, and he'll get more into that in the future. But what he does at this first part is he checks Job's idea here that in retributive justice, right? He agrees that God punishes the wicked and things like that, but he also points out that that's not the only reason God brings these things upon us in life. There might be other reasons that we don't know, and this is kind of him maybe hinting at the underlying tension in the book, which is that there's this greater cosmological thing between God and Satan that's going on that Job and his friends have no idea about. And so one of Elihu's first big arguments about suffering is that sometimes it happens just to test us or to make us stronger, right? And I think that can we hear this a lot. This is really common in the New Testament, right? We actually, we did a Bible study on Peter and stuff like that. You see that all over those books. And so you're not really shocked when you should not be shocked when you see this type of thing. But this is new, right? This is a new kind of concept, a way of looking at suffering that Job and his friends haven't seen before. So it's the radical view, and he's going to get more into that. But he says here, right in verse 9, he says, you say, I am pure without transgression, I am clean, and there is no iniquity in me. Behold, he finds occasions against me. He could count me as his enemy. He puts my feet in the stocks and watches all my paths. One of the things he does here is he quotes a lot of Job's own words back at him. And his other friends do this too, but Elihu gets to do this the most. And if you put all of the friends' things together, Elihu talks more than any of the other friends if you take all their stuff and put them together. So there's a lot more he's going to say, and we're going to get into that next week. But this is a really good introduction to Elihu and his thinking, and it's not done yet. We'll see what he has to say next week. And this is, I think, where we get to maybe answering some of the deeper questions about what the Book of Job is trying to teach us. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and a happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you next week, and have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Peace out.